From Significant, this is Crack It in an Hour.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Crack It in an Hour. I'm Simon.
I'm Jesse.
I'm Roman.
And for those of you who know, you know it's one problem, 1 hour to crack it once a week. But this time we're doing the thing we've done only once before, which is each one of us is doing sort of a lightning round version. Each one of us is going to bring one problem to talk about, and the other two have no idea what they are. And we're going to try and crack it in 20 minutes. So 3 problems in 20 minutes once a week. It's just not as cool of a sounding, little like lead up to it. So we'll let that one sit there for a second. But I think the first problem to solve is coming from Jesse.
Yeah. And I don't even know if you would consider this a problem, but I was thinking about it just because of some of our past conversations as a group. I know, Simon, you're big into cooking. I'm pretty big into cooking. Roman, you have called cooking stressful, which I think is interesting. You've not said I'm a bad cook. You've said it's literally stressful to you to cook something. Correct?
Yes, and sorry, I'm laughing because I heard something else when you first said it. You're big into cocaine.
I'm big into cocaine.
Yes.
Let it be known on the internet forever.
So I cracked up laughing because I did not know that of Simon that he was really big into cocaine.
That
up.
Yeah. So, I have a rampant cocaine addiction.
Welcome to Significant.
Yes. I have indeed said cooking is stressful, and it's a good subject. I don't know what your question's going to be, but to me, there's so much planning that needs to come with cooking that it stresses me out. It's like, okay, do I have all the right ingredients? Okay, in what order do I need to do this? And I think I'm a little more type A, as people probably would know. So I see it more as a process than a creative endeavor, and that's probably why.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that's the perfect entry into the conversation because I'm really curious. I know a lot of adults who are like, I don't know how to cook. And I don't think everybody needs to become a chef. But I'm like, how do you get someone who doesn't know how to cook to start cooking? How do you make it, how do you get somebody into it, and how do you make it easy for people? Because I think what's interesting is like food culture, recipe culture. It became so big in the, really almost with the birth of Instagram. Like it became even more of an act of creativity and an act of art. But I also think it put a lot of pressure on how cooking can be very, very simple, but you've got all these insane recipes from places all around the world that require 27 rare ingredients. And certainly that's part of the problem. But how do you get someone to start cooking?
Well, what do you think? Because here's my question is what do you think is failing people right now? Because I think what Roman's problem is, I don't think is a problem that has been solved for. And I agree, but the lot have been solved for, right? I think there has been a lot of if you're interested in cooking, here's a simple way to get into it. I think what Roman's problem is the fundamental practice of cooking is not something he's interested in doing. But stop me if you disagree.
I think that's true. I think but it's probably a reframing exercise because
we're good at that. We're fucking good at that.
That's what we do for a living. When I think about it, I see it as something that I have to do. It's a mandatory, otherwise the kids are going to starve, right?
Have you ever cooked for yourself?
There are a few days in the year where I'm alone at home and then I cook for myself. Yeah.
And is that more enjoyable?
No, I see it the same way. I start looking at my watch at 4:30 p.m. and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to start to think about what time I need to go in the kitchen and make sure there's ingredients in the fridge. And then, what ingredients? And then I always end up cooking the same thing anyway. And it's always pretty good. I cook 3 things and they're always pretty good. But still, it's it adds a layer of stress in my logistics that I'm like, I don't need that in my life. I just don't.
It's
It's
so funny
amazing.
because you're someone who loves logistics and you're not typically stressed out by logistics. So it's an interesting
No, but
like
Roman gets stressed out about time. Time is like, he is a
mm,
very punctual person. He is a
that's
very like,
interesting.
he is a very like, he likes things done on time. You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah,
I think
that's
like
true.
that's the thing that I keep kind of thinking about, where
That's
I'm like,
true.
how do you
That's true.
separate this
From
process
time.
for Roman from time? Because when I enjoy cooking the most, it's actually
Mhm.
weirdly like it goes long, but I'm kind of enjoying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So first of all, let's make sure the problem isn't, let's do a therapy session for Roman to make
No,
time
I like this.
less of an important
We've done
thing
come
in his
on. We've
life.
done enough on
And,
me. We've done
uh,
enough on me. It's
and
time to do one
second
on
of
you.
all, then yes, I agree with you, Simon. It's actually happened to me very recently when I was home with the kids for a few days, including a weekend, which is a big difference. Because on a weekday, you're a little more like chop chop. How am I going to fit it in?
Yeah,
And
totally.
yes, I did like, okay, I started throwing things and cutting things and putting it, and I was listening to a podcast because the kids were doing their things. And
Totally.
yes, it did remove a massive, massive layer of a discomfort in doing it. That's true. But I don't
Yeah.
think necessarily that I should be a test case. I was thinking about that. But though I do think the time component is important, because when you think about all the companies that have started in the last decade, the Blue Aprons, and they've worked to varying degrees, right? But there's still some out there like Factor, and all of those guys are like still growing. Some of them are. It was kind of on the promise of time and convenience, right? It's like it was a big
Yeah.
convenience play.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting though is because Factor is not cooking, it's prepared meal. Factor, Cook Unity, Thistle, like these are all pre-prepared, either stick it in the oven or the microwave and like or a pan and you're done. Blue Apron, so I used Blue Apron for maybe like 4 years ago, maybe like almost a decade ago, I'd say. And I loved it. I really loved it. I've always enjoyed cooking, but what I found interesting about Blue Apron is it actually taught me some interesting techniques that I
Mm.
would that I would have never wanted to I would have never wanted to seek out techniques in cooking because it would have felt like too far beyond my capability. But even simple things like I noticed that the patterns of like, okay, when you're cooking vegetables, you add them in the pan in a certain order based on how much water content they have. And then you're actually seasoning each time you add something into the pan. And I'm like, oh, now I got to a point where I was like, I don't really need Blue Apron anymore because I'm just going to use these things that I learned from this process. And I've always thought that was really interesting. I know for some people, there's just no kind of interest in it in the first place. But for me, there is like many things in life, there's like a perfectionism that I think has been built around the idea of cooking. And I think recipes don't help with that. Recipes are meant to be a process you can follow. But I actually think it would be very cool for recipes to have moments in it that's like, but if you do this part in 10 minutes, like nothing's going to
Totally.
happen. And if you accidentally skip this part, don't even worry about it. Like I would love a recipe to be like, this is the ideal version. And like, here's what can happen and nothing bad is going to go down.
Have you used ChatGPT to cook? Because it's very that in a good way. Where I've been like, oh crap,
Interesting.
I'm out of rosemary, and they're like, do you got any of this? Try chucking that in, it'll be fine. And it's like I found that
Yeah,
like
that's
it's actually
interesting.
like it's actually one of the principal ways I use ChatGPT is like I'm the king of like I'll slow cook the shit out of anything and just like find some value in the food of it. And so like a lot of times, like if leftovers, let's pretend we have like a lot of chicken or something like that. I'll be like, hey, okay, I got
Yeah.
this chicken. My
What do I do?
backyard, like I got a lemon, I got this. What do I do? And they'll be like, okay, do this, do this, do this. And I'm like, okay, I got like 4 of the 6 ingredients. What do you recommend instead? And they're like, do this, do this. And it's very like that. It's like very
That's
free
interesting.
flowing and thing. And I find that to be like, again, first of all, I'm not a particularly picky eater. And I'm also, I like a lot of like one pot dishes.
Yeah.
So like cooking for me is just sort of like combining a bunch of stuff together. And I
So
find that to be pretty good.
That's interesting.
I agree. And I'm also a big one pot, one pan, like anything that you can like throw. And I think, you know, there's a lot of this is like super obvious psychology, but people are more likely to do things that they already know they will be good at.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it makes sense. Like most psychology principles, you're like, yeah, totally. Why would I want to do something I don't think I'll be good at? I think so many people have adopted the language, like, I'm not good at cooking, that then they just like embody that belief. And I think if you gave people 3 things that they could be successful at in cooking, it like already builds a layer of confidence. And then maybe it's just those 3 things, but I think that's what one pan, one pot meals are really good at, because you really can't screw them up. Like you cannot screw them up. You just throw it all in and then like
it's gonna taste fine.
I think what adds to the stress is I come from a culture of like many different things on the table. And so there's literally at any time, any meal, lunch or dinner, at least 4 different things.
Oh,
right?
Interesting.
So that adds to the stress. And one of them might be the one pot thing, but there's still 3 other things. And so that adds to the complexity of the grid in my brain of what needs to happen when. There's a thing about, to your point. Yeah. There's a thing to your point about recipes that is so, it's so rigid, and so like it feels like a formula. And if you mess up just one thing, then your whole thing, your whole like 2-hour endeavor is messed up. And I think that's probably also an opportunity to break it. It's like there's no just one way. Like cooking is also creative, and there's no one formula for creativity. And so if you want to just throw that one thing and maybe it will work, maybe it won't. But worst case scenario, you'll still have dinner and you can do it differently the next time. I think there's a bit of like pressure to be removed off like the act of cooking, generally speaking.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think about the very iconic scene from Schitt's Creek, with David and Moira cooking something together, and they're like, it's like the step in the recipe is like now fold in the cheese, and both of them are like, the scene I'm talking about, and both of them are like, they're like fold it in. Well, you fold it in, and he's like, no, you do it, and they're like, no, just fold it in, and they're like, no, you fold it in, and it's like, why are we even using that term for people? I can understand if you've never cooked and you're like, what does folded in mean? Like, why are we speaking this way? So I think it's interesting to think about, exactly, reframing recipes, not only as what's critical versus like no big deal. And like, let's also just use some non-cooking terms to talk about what to do. And I don't think I've seen that. Maybe it's out there, but I haven't seen it.
One more thing that breaks my brain, and sorry, I'm jumping in real quick, and I'm not going to solve anything. I'm just going to state the fact in my head is that cooking is creativity, but there's also a bit of chemistry in cooking, and that fucks with my brain. It's like there's certain ingredients, you put them together, your house is going to blow up. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, I'm exaggerating, obviously. I'm like, wait, what? If I put the olive oil first to do my vinaigrette, then it's not going to catch on the same way. I'm
I see what you mean.
Like, no, like too complicated. Like I've always been very bad at all those like bio and chemistry classes since, high school. And I'm like, I don't want to do that again. So that's the part that's like, the risk to mess it up is too high.
Honestly, like to me, it's like cooking is like, put a bunch of butter. Like I'm just going to do like a default, like this will always work, which is like get a pan, medium to medium high, put butter in it, put a mirepoix in it, fry that for like 5 to 10 minutes, and then just figure out what else you got that you want to toss in there. And it'll probably be something pretty good. Like if you do chicken stock and a bunch of herbs, congratulations, you're making chicken soup. If you put in like beef a few different ingredients, it's like, congratulations, you'll toss some red wine in there and you're basically making beef bourguignon. Like it's just basically that, you know what I mean? And I think it's like, it's like you need to find, I think part of what you guys are circling on, and I don't know if this is an answer or not, is the joy of imperfection versus the chase of perfection. Because I think like you can make a lot of good food quite simply. And like, is it going to be Michelin star? No, but are you going to learn something and you're going to like eating it? Like probably, you know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 And also like, go ahead.
It's called bourguignon.
And also like what I just said would have made the most horrible bourguignon known to man. I'm just, you know what I mean? Like it's literally like, it is though. Like it is just stacking. It's just stacking. That's all it is.
There was a great cookbook from, maybe it came out 7 or 8 years ago. I don't know, maybe longer, called Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because on the surface, you're like, oh, this is for people who like know what they're doing. And I mean, the cookbook has amazing recipes and I love it. But if you take a step back, the principle is like, all you need, which is your whole point, is salt, fat, acid, and then sometimes some element of heat, which is not the same thing as spicy. And you're like, oh wait, this is actually interesting. Like, yeah, so if I just, what's a fat I have? I need to add a little acid to it.
Yeah. Totally.
I know that still requires a level of like curiosity towards cooking, but I do think that I think that people need an easy win. And I think the recipes need to be like, the premise of a recipe is that it's a simple step by step, but the practice of a recipe is that it's actually a very stressful, like, process to follow. That I'm always like, what? Like, what's that mean?
I also think what kills a lot of people on cooking is prep. I don't think people like cutting onions. I don't think people like cutting like all that shit. You know what I mean?
It's
like,
my favorite part.
Because I think a lot of people just want to go and start making the thing, and that prep is really what holds a lot of people. Like, especially like, man, like if you don't know how to chop garlic quickly, like unpeeling the garlic and like that becomes like a massive pain in the ass for people.
Well, okay, but here's an interesting thing, right?
Yes.
Because there's first of all, that is my favorite part of the process. But I think there could be something, and maybe this is just solved by ChatGPT, is you're like, cool, start with what's your least favorite part. Because there's a solution to each of those. Like if you don't like you can buy pre-peeled garlic that is totally viable. Fine. It's not some like weird factory made garlic. It's like, oh, you don't like that part? Okay, cool. So you should buy this and then you can go, it's going to take off this much time and it'll make it this much easier. Oh, you like I don't like to cook meat. So when I'm cooking, it's always going to be vegetarian. Like, so
really,
like that's I want nothing to do with it. I don't want to touch it.
Is it because you're afraid you're going to undercook it and kill yourself, or is it something else?
I don't know how to cook. I don't like touching it, and I don't think I'm going to cook it properly. So I know that I'm going to way overcook it in the fear of undercooking it, and I'd rather just like have a vegetarian meal than do that. Yeah,
no, overcooked meat sucks. I agree.
Yeah, I can like fuck around. Yeah. I can fuck around with some like ground beef because you can't really screw that up. But otherwise, like I'm not touching meat. No, you can't.
Do you know my mom? My mom used to eat just raw ground beef. And so it's something I've always done too, is I'll just eat raw ground beef.
Yeah, totally. It's steak tartare. That's what it is. It's raw ground beef, but you can definitely fucking ground beef. When I do like a ground beef at home for the kids, I make it super, super thick. And so then I can fuck it up because it needs to have a certain termination.
I'm talking about like keeping it, not forming it into anything. Like if you're making like,
you're talking about like taco meat, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Got it. Ground chicken. Sorry. Like, no, I'm not creating. I'm not creating anything gross.
Okay. Yeah,
my bad. I don't know what we're solving, but
I think we've solved a lot there. I don't know if we solved the whole thing. I think what you're talking about, I mean, to me, if this is about how do we make people start cooking more easily, it's remove the things you don't want to do, which is a very easy to do. It's reframe it as experimentation, not perfection. And then like to go into the reframe thing. Is there anything else that we've been talking about?
I think the time it's not the solution to everything, but the time component was an interesting one. Like maybe as a way to get started, it's like, okay, if you're not into cooking, just try it once a week, but do it on a Saturday or Sunday. And that might get you into the rhythm. When you remove the time pressure of it, it might help people start to build confidence in it, which I think is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I love I shouldn't say I love cooking. I like cooking. Oh, we're running low on time. Okay. Jesse, is there anything else you want to say to wrap this one up?
No, but I think Roman should cook us dinner.
I'm down, you guys, because I know I could. If you come once, I can do it, but don't come twice because we're gonna eat the same thing again.
What is it going to be? Pasta?
There's probably gonna be zucchini in a wok situation. There'll be some kind of meat for the meat eaters. It could be like smashed chicken with lemon and rice, or otherwise it will be a delicious pasta, a really good pasta. I think pasta is underrated in a dinner situation.
I love pasta.
Yeah. All right. I think I don't know that we cracked it, but I think it was good. I'm the next one, right? I'm the second one, and I started the clock already.
I'm good to go whenever.
I think you said you were going last. So is it me? I don't know.
Yeah, go for it.
Guys, I'm bringing the subject that started Crack It in an Hour. I'm finally doing it. We were walking in the cold streets, wet streets of Boston in January of 2025, and we were talking about something stupid that led us to say, why don't we put a mic and argue about those things? And that question was, why has no one solved plane boarding? We have to solve plane boarding. It's a mess anywhere you go. It's a bigger mess in certain parts of the world than others, and we can talk about that. I think some companies have attempted to do it, like Hello Southwest, right? You've tried to do it by like reinventing the thing. Still no one solved it. So how do we solve plane boarding?
What are we solving for? Are we solving for speed? Are we solving for kind of just general convenience? What are we solving for?
I think it needs to be just a less grueling experiment. Right? Generally speaking.
Like, I got a lot of thoughts. I don't have to go first, though.
Yeah, go for it.
You go for it.
There needs to be some sort of combination of first class and business class people, I think, always have to board first. But if you removed that out of it, should you not be boarding from the back? Like, go to the furthest back end of the plane and then basically start moving it forward? Would that not be a far more efficient process?
I totally think it would be, but I think what's happening now is people, the carry-on luggage thing has gotten so out of hand that every single flight doesn't actually have enough room. And so people are banking on their status to be able to get an overhead bin space. And so if you board back to front, which creates way more efficiency, you're basically like, hey, you actually have a disadvantage by having maybe a seat in, like, let's call it a not first class, but like a comfort middle plus. You're basically, your status now becomes a disadvantage. I think they have to, like, in order to, there's efficiency and people's inability to like actually operate as a holistic unit of humans that are like doing things and getting the hell out of each other's way. And then there's also like a systemic issue. There's civility, and then there's a systemic issue of airlines having just made everything smaller, more expensive, people trying to like hack their way into bringing more baggage online and it not really being, or baggage on the plane and it not really being managed by the airline. Yeah. So I think you have to be able to fix both of those things to fix the boarding process.
So are we allowed to talk about just put more overhead package on top, or no? Are we allowed to say that, or is that where that's off the table?
We can talk about anything. We can play God, but at the end we'll try to make it actionable.
Realistic,
but I have questions on your both your guys' thoughts. The first one is, who said it was a privilege to spend more time on the plane?
I don't know, dude. I totally agree.
Meaning, why do the people who spend more money have to board first? I would like, if I flew business, I would think the privilege is like there's a dedicated time at the end where no one else can board the plane. That's it. Boarding's done, except for the people who are like at the front. I'll be like, that's cool. I can show up later and spend less time, like literally sitting, especially
Waiting
to fly
to
cross country.
filled.
You're gonna fly for 6 hours. You see what I mean? I'm like, I think that could be a thing. I don't think it would solve plane boarding because I don't think the issue lies at the front of the plane because there's so much space that the volume of people per square footage of the actual plane is lower. So that part of the process is generally easy. But I think I would reconsider that part. The other one is, Simon, you said from back to front. Yes, but should it be from out to center? Should it be from anyone who's got a window seat, the back window, then middle window, then front window, then you go again with all the middle seats, and then you go again with all the aisle seats? Because technically that's where the bottleneck is when you actually come in and you have to wait for the people to come out because they got in first before. Like, I'm an aisle seater and I get to board early. And so basically I always need to stand up for someone who's going to the window, and that's a waste of time. So I don't know. I think there's multiple small things that could be thought through. And the last thing I'll say is the baggage space for whatever it's called, like for carry-on, I agree, is a massive thing, and that needs to be completely reinvented. I don't know if it's about, I don't know if you should be able to book it for them to know exactly how much there's going to be left available. I don't know what it is, but I think it needs to be reinvented.
I think I love the board from window into aisle. I think that's so smart. I think lowest hanging fruit in the overhead bin space is like to actually implement the rule. Like when people are like, no coats in the overhead bin, and like only your larger bag. Every single time I see people just like stick both their backpack and their suitcase up there because like no one wants the bag under their feet. So everyone's just like, I don't care. I'm boarding early. There's space. I'm going to literally do whatever I want. And it never gets, you never hear. I mean, maybe sometimes at the end when the flight attendants are trying to move bags around, they're like, whose backpack is this? Whose whatever is this? But yeah, I see people leaving LA putting like Porto's, the bakery, and everybody always gets like 500 boxes of whatever the hell from Porto's. And then they like stick the bag up in the thing and then their suitcase next to it. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, personal item? That's your Porto's like takeout order is your personal item, but you're putting it in the overhead bin. I think it's crazy.
What you're talking to is something that would make it's like cutting off to the nose to spite the face, which is there's a very elegant solution for the boarding that would actually make the process of the entire experience more hell, which is you have to check whatever gets even put in as a carry-on as well. So like it's like literally like you get to the airport and I don't know, they go like, which one are you putting up high? And you have to have a ticket on it. And then someone goes through and goes like, this one doesn't have a ticket on it. You get the hell off this. I don't know. But you know what I mean? Yeah. Like there's a way you could actually really start to like enforce that rule to solve that problem. But I think it would, again, just make other problems that we wouldn't want to deal with as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I like the thinking.
Because I like that when you check in, because now everybody checks in before most people, you should be able to say, I have a carry-on. And this way you book your space in there.
Yes.
And you can still follow the status thing of like, first of all, the status people, whatever, get to book their carry-on space and this way you can probably diminish the the
Yeah.
whole fiasco once you board? I don't know.
You guys know this, but like I'm a backpack guy, and one of the beauties of the backpack guy is you bypass a lot of what you're saying, Roman, which is like you literally just like I can just walk on this plane whenever I want. Like I don't need to like elbow people out of the way to make sure that I have to get my carry-on on it, and it's so much nicer. Like to the point where when I do have to carry on, it like stresses me out a little.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You got to play the game a little more.
I think for clarity for our audience, I don't think you're just a backpack guy, because it could sound like you're a backpacker. You're a very, very light traveler. Like
I'm a very light
you
traveler,
can go
yes.
on a regular backpack for like 3 days, and I'm usually very impressed by that. But
Yeah.
that's a skill.
It's good.
But I'll say you've usually forgotten like 4 or 5 things.
I usually
in that
forget my
time.
toothbrush, a charger. There's like in when we were just on our trip, Jesse, I had to run out and grab a comb because I forgot my hairbrush. So there's always something.
I feel like you need one backpack that's just pre-packed for trips.
Totally.
And like that's your go bag. And then you have your like
great idea. I should ask for that for Christmas. That's a great idea. Oh, that's such a good idea. You can have one
now, Simon. You can go get one. It would be,
I guess so.
And then all you have to do is throw the clothes in. Yeah.
I love that.
I also think, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think that you should score people. I think people should get miles for how well and how efficiently they board the plane. And I think it would be really easy. If I think about Delta, for example, now what do they call it? Like the screen on your seat knows who you are because it knows what seat has been assigned to you. So if like my boarding pass is scanned at the gate, I walk on the plane, the minute I sit down in my seat, I tap the like enter the screen experience button. It knows how long it took me from boarding to sitting. And I know this is like kind of what we talked about with the security thing. Is like, yeah, but what about like the impact other people have on your ability to be efficient? I know, but I still think if everybody was racing to be like, you could see where other people on the plane are. Like this person's like a real shit boarder, and now you're competing with each other. You've got like a boarding. How
does that make this better? You're just creating like a competition out of boarding.
I agree.
I think
you're
that if you
chaos.
are like marked up, no, I'm not. Earn miles for boarding faster, for sure.
Oh, that has so many unintended consequences.
Yeah. I agree. And then you get a little sticker like shit border or gold border.
Exactly. Yeah,
what's your boarding score?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, you know how they send out like those weird bag tags that are like when you're like platinum medallion, and then you get like a Delta platinum medallion bag tag, and they should send out like a A+ border and like absolute garbage. I suck at boarding.
Let's be honest
planes.
here too. Like the people who are probably the worst at boarding, out of no fault of their own, are probably just people who fly a lot less too, right? Like I have to guess there's definitely like a correlation. Like it's not. I don't think like poor boarding is generally like every once in a while it's someone who's rude. But a lot of times it's just someone who just doesn't understand the rules and etiquette, sort of. You know what I mean? And it's not like they're trying to be a jerk. They're just like trying to jam a too big carry-on into a space that's too small and stuff like that.
I agree. But I do think that there's like a level of obliviousness though that comes with maybe it's uniquely American, but like just it's what we've talked about in many other episodes of like, but not operating as like an actual unit of humans, and instead just being like, I am me and this is what I'm trying to do, and I want to get my shit up there, and all I care about is that all my shit's up there and I can sit down, and not being aware of the totality.
But here's a different an entire area of conversation. I have a couple more actually, but did you guys ever fly an A380?
I don't know.
Tell me more. Maybe. I don't know.
So they they built those planes whenever 15 years ago, whenever they were released 10, 15 years ago, right? Biggest commercial aircraft in the world. I don't know how many passengers it can carry, but probably north of 500. It's insane. It's insane. It's a double decker through the whole thing, right?
Oh,
Some airlines that stopped flying it a few years ago, but that's why you see less of them in LA. But if you've ever flown it, you realize that it's a plane that was designed without thinking about the airport experience. And it's horrible. It's horrible. You literally have to show up 20 minutes or 30 minutes earlier than usual to board, right? So already take that into account. You're about to get on a plane for 10 hours. And normally you'd have to board like on an international flight, let's say an hour early. This one, boom, an hour and a half. Okay, great. Why? Because you got to put 500 people in there. The halls of the airport itself are not meant to accommodate that many people. So there's like many airports where actually when you used to have one of those aircrafts, it would jam the whole airport because it would like basically have everyone standing in the middle and no one could go through to get to the other gates. So it's like the fact that again, it's kind of like when we talked about those machines to put your suitcase at TSA that no one thought about the actual experience. Yeah. It's the same thing. They're like, we're going to build the biggest plane in the world. It's going to be amazing. But the traveler's experience, no one really gives a fuck. So it's incredible, incredibly, it's a huge, basically user experience mistake at the airport. They just took into account what's going to happen on the plane. And on the plane, yes, it's a great experience. But it's nice, before and after, which is a huge part of your travel, it's not. But that's a thing also, like, I guess the point I'm making is that plane design and airport design is also to be taken into consideration, I think, in that conversation. Because what we talk about is like, we get on like domestic flights, smaller planes, etc. But I think the whole thing needs to be considered.
I also, I always thought it was, you brought up Southwest, and obviously they have now shifted to assigned seating after all those years of open seating. And it's so funny because anybody who wasn't a Southwest flyer talked about Southwest, like the language people would always use is like, it's like herding cattle. Like, oh my God, it's the worst boarding experience. It's like herding cattle. I think there's nothing more civil than the Southwest boarding experience. Yeah. Like in every other, not in every other airline, it's a group and everyone's just like literally coming from all directions, trying to be the first one into the line and trying to like play the game of being like, you're boarding group 4, but I'm going to stand at the back of 3 and hope that I'm the one. Southwest was literally stand in a line by number. Do
you think if that process had been introduced by an airline that was more luxury, like let's pretend like Emirates, not business, but like let's pretend Emirates, Emirates sort of like coach level, if it had been introduced by them as like introducing a new way of civil boarding from Emirates, like I think you're right, Jesse, which is like it got killed because of who introduced it, but the idea itself was a wonderful idea.
Yes. And possibly, I think the chaos of Southwest was that once people are on a plane, like if you give people choice, they actually take much longer to figure out what to do because like, have you ever been, I was on crutches for a very long time and I was flying Southwest a lot in those days. And so I always got to be the very first person on the plane. And like, I'm on crutches. I should obviously just take the very first seat I can get to. But I'd be like, well, maybe I like want to be one row back. And like, what are you doing? Just like you're the human brain when given like the entire empty plane, you're like, what do I do? So that the chaos was not in the boarding. It was in the fact that once you got on the plane, everybody was like, let's say every single person takes 10 seconds longer to make a choice. It creates a much more elongated boarding experience. But I agree, if you introduce the assigned seating, but the lineup method instead of a boarding group, and it's introduced as a more refined process by maybe a higher end airline, I think it's actually an excellent experience. You're literally lined up by number.
What was the like? What was? Did I feel free to say I don't know, but like, did Southwest show a rationale of why they did it? Why they switched? Why they moved away from it? I never saw anything specific other than like an ad where they're kind of like, yeah, we get it, we're finally doing it. But like, I'm like, I'd love to see the like study that sort of shifted that. Like, was it purely financial? Was it actually an optimization thing? Like, what was the reason they did it?
Well, this is my interpretation. One, it happened after I believe Southwest was purchased by private equity. And I think I think now they're operating more like one of the things that it didn't really enable was like people paying to upgrade into different seats or different Southwest really didn't have a class system. At some point they had introduced the idea of like early bird boarding, and they reserved A1 through 10 for people who basically wanted to pay for like a higher spot in the line. But they didn't really have that many other options to make more money off of people. And now you see it. I just purchased a Southwest flight. It's like you have to, if you want to buy a seat now, and you're there, you have way more options now to spend more money. So I think it was private equity being like, hey, you know what you could do?
Make more
Make
money.
more money.
All right, I'm gonna do fast wrap up because we're through. I don't think we're cracked it, but anyway, some interesting ideas: boarding, window to aisle, the bin space. Actually implement the rule. That I think I'm gonna get to that in a second. Or maybe you can book your space. Jesse, I like what you're saying about doing a bit of a Southwest experience with more premium. I do think like the Southwest brand combined with the process kind of killed that thing, but it's actually a good idea. And then we haven't talked about the social contract, which we talked about last time. It's like, it's all about that. Like, can those just be a little more respect? But anyway, Simon, you're next.
Guys, I got a doozy. I don't know if we'll be able to fix it in 20 minutes, but I'm excited to try. And it actually came from something you said the other day, Jesse, about the current state of email and what is going on with email. I want to fix email. Email is a mess right now. I don't know about you, but I would say over 50% now is spam, or at the very least, if I'm complimenting, not written by humans. Yet there's still like, and you guys know this, is like, I am the worst at email because it's like, but you still got to look at it because there's going to be one or two in there that really matter, even though 80% of it is garbage. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, it's both this thing that has been completely exploited by what I would call like technology for bad, whether that's just straight up spamming or something even worse, like trying to pull you into a scam. It's horrible in that. There's been no protection from that whatsoever. The etiquette of email has gotten weird because I think it's also started to inherit the etiquette of texting, where texting, like if someone writes back to me like, sounds good, I understand why you do that in a text, but I don't need an email that says sounds good. That just feels too cumbersome to me in the format of email. So how the heck? Here's another one too. I was looking at how I wrote emails. Like I have Gmail, and I went and looked back at like how I wrote emails 15 years ago. And I encourage you both to like go into your personal email and look back at emails 15 years ago. It was a different world. It was like, you'd write like 3 pages and it was like a thing, and it was like important and special. And like, Jesse, it was never to the letter writing thing, but it was a version of that for sure.
Totally.
Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
And it was also like, okay, because we don't understand text culture yet, I'm going to wait till the end of the day to give you a summary of the things you need to know, rather than expect you to respond to my one thing, but then follow up with another thing, then follow up with another thing. Email is inherently broken right now. What are the first things to do? We got 20 minutes to start fixing email.
Can I ask, should we focus it on personal versus professional?
Sure. Whatever way we want to. I'm easy because this is a big one. I know.
Can I also ask with a question? Because it is a big one. On the big ones, there's always questions. I'm in a question.
Yeah.
Email was launched as, a breakthrough communication method. And we've had many of those since. And so now email needs to play a role in the communications ecosystem. And so what do you think the role of email is?
That's a
To
great
me,
question.
I will give you email is a place where there needs to be some longevity to the communication that you're sending. Like to me, it's
Okay.
like a text I can forget about. If I get something in email, it is almost like I am going to be able to reference this a year from now or something like that. To me, that is the role of email in my mind. But you two tell me if you disagree.
No,
No,
I
I
think
think
it's a
it's
great start.
interesting. It's a great question. And yeah, I agree. I think, but I could see Slack starting to replace that. Like, because
Totally.
my initial instinct was like, document share on email to me is still helpful because it's a reference pool. And even if you think about the way email's organized as a thread, like it makes sense. Like there's longevity to this conversation and you want to be able to track the history. That's hard to do in a text right now because
Yes.
of like you're just literally trying to scroll back to like the date that you had that conversation versus the bucketing. But I really see something like Slack starting to replace a lot of that. I actually
I
still think the
agree.
organization of an email and a thread is maybe the one thing that makes it different for me from like a historical tracking perspective.
And there's another one too, which is I think email is a great outreach tool. Like for like literally like, hey, so and so said I should meet you. I would love to meet you. Blah blah blah. I'm so and so. Hello, so and so. Like to me, this is a weird thing to say, and I don't know if this is the right way of thinking about it, but like emails are one of those things. I feel like I should get 15 in a day. I should get a gazillion texts. I should get a bunch of Slack messages, but emails are something I don't think I should be getting as many of. And right now, most of the ones I'm getting, frankly, are sort of either horrible spam and garbage, or I think what I think is like a different relationship to email than what I think the relationship to email should be, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Interesting.
I can't answer my own question about what the role of email is, and I agree with you. The longevity thing is interesting because I don't see anywhere else where that could take place in a way that would be a comfortable, pleasant experience. So I think longevity is interesting. The outreach, I could argue, could happen in other places, even like if it's professional outreach, like LinkedIn is the one, even though LinkedIn has become just a bunch of spams, but
it's bad. Yeah.
But
literally,
but outside of that, it's true that Slack has become for, many organizations now, the internal communication system, right? Like many orgs don't use email, whether they've banned it officially or they've gradually gone there. So it's true that Slack has done a very good job at replacing email, probably on the premise of email is broken. And I don't know how old Slack is, but definitely more than a decade old. So email's been broken for a while. I think there's a, no, I don't know. That wasn't.
Okay, let me ask you
this.
Let me ask you a different question. Sorry, go ahead, Jesse.
Well, I was thinking about, the like, this meeting should have been an email sort of like meme. I think we need to evolve that into like this email should have been a text. And because it's like we culturally use email as almost like the faster, easier, simpler solution. But I feel like we almost need the PSA to be like, think before you email. Like, should this be an email?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
let me ask you a question. What do you think is more? What do you think is more likely? What do you think is more likely? Do you think it is more likely that, let's not say the generation below us, but the generation after that will have an email address or will never have an email address?
No. More likely not.
That's great. So it'll go the way of facts. It'll go the way of
it's a binary question, right? So I'm saying no. Yeah.
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 I mean, it's personal preference, but the thing I actually like about email that I don't think Slack and text can do is, to me, an unread email can operate like a to-do list. And
Yes.
it
I'm the
helps a
same.
lot. And like, I will read a text message and then mark it as unread, but it actually doesn't work as well because it only marks the last message. And then if someone texts you again, even though what I was trying, if that same person texts you again, I'm like, okay, fuck, well, I still need to mark this unread, but I'm trying to reference that one back up there and I need to remember to like respond to that. Whereas an email, I can mark again back in the thread and and maybe this is like, I don't know, maybe someone's listening to this and be like, yeah, that's some like old millennial bullshit. But like, to me, it's a real function. Same with Slack, you can mark it unread, and I know I'm probably not using Slack to the best of its ability because I think you can create action items and to-do lists within it based on conversations. But I use my email and I will filter to unread. And then I'm like, oh, right, I need to do this, and this before I go to sleep.
Yeah, and I understand. I was going to say the exact same arguments, all of them. When I said I don't mind email, that's my rationale. I still use email for that. The challenge about it is that more than 50% it's not just spam. It's either spam, but Google's doing a pretty good job at spam. You don't get as many with Gmail, or just newsletters and things where just 1 in 10 are going to be necessary for you. And that's really hard. It's like
annoying.
I don't know if you're experiencing the same, Simon, but with schools, I have 3 kids in schools, 1 in high, 1 in middle, 1 in elementary. I get at least 1 email per child per day. And I'm like, guys, like the day the school's going to be on fire, I will not be aware. Like
Totally.
I won't know because you're emailing me about the fact that there's going to be like Paw Patrol showing at 2 p.m. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, you see what I mean? Like just use communication selectively for what it's meant. So that's what emails kind of become, is like, because the school has to do it. But the least important communication channel in a way is email. Because if they text you, you're like, uh-oh. If they call you, you're like, ooh. So it's kind of become like the garbage of communication. Like it's
you're
email.
Right.
I have a solution that is one of those, it's never going to work. It doesn't make any sense, but I'm going to put it out there anyway, which is I think that you should be charged per email that you send. Like, because I think the problem that I think we can agree there's still a role. Maybe we have different reasons for email, but I think part of the problem you started out with, at least the conversation we were having the other day, Simon, is that emails basically become 80% junk. It used to be that like most of your email was, and I'm not even talking about the shit that's filtered into the junk. I'm talking about stuff that I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
And I think like people should start being charged for emails that they send, or if there's a percentage, like I move emails into the junk folder all the time, hoping that they never come again. And maybe if there's like a by sender or by VPN, I don't know, if 5% of your messages get moved into somebody's like junk folder, you're going to start getting charged for everyone that you send after that. I think that's
there's something. Let me riff on your charge email idea, because I think you're actually making me think of like a business idea. Whereas what if you created, like, we're going to create a competitor to Gmail and we're going to call it like important.com. So it's going to be like Simon Bruin at important.com, Jesse Unger at important.com. You get it. And the idea is we are going to create an email, that we only let important things through. If you get flagged once for sending something unimportant to anyone, you are going to be like kicked off of ever sending anything from us again. And it becomes literally like
high stakes,
a high stakes. And you need it. And we'll fucking like, we'll gatekeep the shit out of it. We'll make it exclusive. Signing up costs $1,000, but it's personal chauffeur service on your email. Yeah. And we will ensure you're going to get like 8 emails a day, but each one of them is going to be worth your time because the person sending it to you put actual thought into it and stuff like that. And it becomes sort of the evolution of email to avoid all this shit.
And you can start using like the verified user sort of concept that, at least in its original intent on social, like to make it sort of like to vet people first. I think there should be fines. Like, I think people sending, I mean, I like the idea that like you have to be real careful because one mistake and you are never allowed, there is no reversing getting back on this platform. I think that could work too, instead of charging or fining people.
The emails could always be like, look, here's my phone number. Give me a ring if you want to chat about this or text about it. Like, we're happy with people going things offline, but for the emails, any emails you receive, it's like, we believe there's only 10 important emails that happen a day. And we are going to filter for you everything else to ensure you get the 10 important emails. You don't waste your time with email anymore.
Well, I like it.
And it becomes, you know what I mean? Almost like literally like luxury item email.
But so I love it. I think it's a great idea. And I also think, I think there needs to be space for garbage, because otherwise something else will be invented for garbage. Because that's the way it is. Like, an email should actually become the mailer of today, and we should ban mailers. Do you call them mailers? The things you get, like, we should ban all of those paper printed stuff that we get in the mail every day. And you have important.com, and you also have mailer.com, where you get all the junk. And for the people who like the junk, some people like to go through the fucking coupons and things, and they get a lot of benefit from it. And I'm like, cool, good for you. Then you're going to stop getting it in paper, and you're going to get in mailer.com. I think there needs to be space for trash, because trash is going to be created anyway.
Okay, but there's, and maybe it's our unique experience, but like, since starting a company, I have never received so much nonsense email in my life. And what you're talking about, Roman, is productive garbage. Like a coupon, okay, maybe I'm like, you're sending me too many, like, every time you, God forbid, I like buy something one time, immediately I'm signed up like every day. I'm like, I'm not going to buy something from here every single day. Why are you constantly emailing me? So there's like what brands do, which to me is nonsensical because it's actually damaging to loyalty and affinity. They're like, if I just purchase from you, what makes you think I'm going to purchase 2 days later? And you're like throwing emails at me. There's that. But I see it, to your point, the mailer, I might want to look at it every now and then. But then there's like the 25 emails a day I get, and I'm sure you guys do too, of like, do you like, you have a interesting opinion on LinkedIn. Let us write a book for you. And I'm like, and it doesn't get filtered to the junk, and it's not a real thing. Or there's like, are you selling your company? Or we can help you make $10,000 extra a month. And it's like, I don't ever want that. I don't even want that in mailer.com. So I think you need important.com. You need garbage.com, which is pure garbage. And then you can have mailer.com, which is like every now and then, maybe I want to like buy a new pair of earrings and I want to see what's up from a coupon standpoint.
Yeah, exactly. On mailer.com, you get Birkenstock, you get, that's what I get. Exactly. I get Birkenstock, I get the coupons from Ralph's, and I get American Express Platinum 150,000 points for free.
Yeah. Which I'm okay. But I want the other, there's so much other shit that like, it's got to go. It's got to go.
But guys, we all know how email is going to get fixed. I don't think we need to solve it. I think in the next
it's going to
6 to 24 months, there's going to be an agent that we can just tap very quickly that we don't need to create. That's going to take care of everything for us. Like,
but that's the problem. I think that's going to make it worse. I actually think it's going to make it worse because my thing is that like, eventually agents are going to get better at sifting out how to trick agents. And it's just going to be this war of agents trying to get past agents. I honestly do.
That's
like,
so true.
It's just starting the arms race.
I have to do a shout out to the show Pantheon. It's been out for a few years. I think Joey's the one who recommended to me. So Joey, we'll see if you listen to this. It's fantastic. It predicts everything. And it's way before, I think it was released before LLMs were released to the public. And it's so good about how AI is going to be competing against each other and destroying the planet. But totally. How do you call it? It's animation. Anyway. Maybe, Simon, but there's no limit to that. Who's going to win? The good agent or the bad agent?
Not humans. Not me. I am going to lose in that. We should try, and actually, I was actually thinking about it, I was like, we should just get like a Claude bot, like running on like a Mac Mini, and see if it right now could run just what we needed to do. Do you know what I mean? I'd be very curious because like I haven't done enough with it, and I know the people who do it are very cautious with it. But if you just open it up to everything, like I think it can do a lot of stuff you're talking about that you've been frustrated by, Roman. But that's not going to fix email. In fact, it might just make it worse. How much time do we have left?
Yeah, like seconds.
2 minutes.
Okay.
Oh, really?
All right.
Okay, well, so then super shout out to Joey, because we've had a real Joey centric week. So, you know, he gave us recommendations in Minneapolis. He introduced us to the best burger I've ever had. So let's just make this about an overall Joey appreciation moment.
Okay, I'm trying to wrap it up real quick. I think what we talked about was, is there even a future for email, or is this something that is going to disappear just like so many other communication standards have disappeared? We talked about the problem of email is partially the fact that it's sort of taken on this weird protocol where it's kind of like inherited like text messaging culture. It's inherited a bit of Slack culture. So now it kind of doesn't really know where it is. Obviously, the overwhelm from not just spam, but that pseudo spam stuff that's like not exactly spam, but just fills up everyone's sort of things. And then Jesse had the breakthrough of what if you needed to charge people for email? And then we started discussing the idea of what if you made an email that literally just curates and only lets you receive 10 emails, and they're all very important, as a means to kind of start to speak to the importance of email. I don't know if we've cracked it, but I think we've gotten closer than anything I've heard out in the world, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I'm into it.
I like our ideas better than what I see out on the internet right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Me too.
Yeah, we'll send mailers about important.com.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The irony. I think we're done. Well done. Three in an hour. Is there anything else you guys want to say before I wrap it up?
No, sir.
All right, great.
That's it. Share this episode, smash the subscribe button, and send us some feedback.
And thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time on another episode of Crack It in an Hour. Bye.
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 Thank you for listening to another episode of Crack It in an Hour. If you like the show, please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. If you have questions, thoughts, or feedback, shoot us an email at hello@crackitpodcast.com or on Instagram @crackitpodcast. Music done by Michael Anastasi, cover art shot by Mick Mint, and all things audio and video taken care of by Nathan Nash. See you next time.